Hello everyone, welcome back to the Scene stream. The film begins in the middle of the dense jungle of Central America. A poor tapir tries to escape from a group of hunters. He even manages to dodge some traps, but in the end, one of those traps with branches full of thorns puts an end to his escape. Soon after, a group of natives appears and celebrates the hunt as if it were a great achievement. A young man from the group, called Jaguar Claw, performs a bizarre ritual. He tears out the animal's heart and hands it over to a guy named Smokey Rancor. Then he distributes other parts of the animal's body among his friends. The nose goes to Curved Nose, the ears are left with Cocoa Leaf, and guess what? The balls go to Twit. But Twit notices the joke and gets upset. He says he doesn't want those parts, but Jaguar Claw, with a serious face, says he needs them because he hasn't been able to get his own wife pregnant yet. Twit, believing him, obeys, but when he's about to do what they told him to, everyone bursts into laughter. It was all a joke. Later, Jaguar Claw's father calls Twit aside and gives him some magical leaves, swearing they will work. He explains it's just a matter of applying them in the intimate area before laying down with his wife. Twit thanks him with hope. After all, his mother-in-law doesn't stop bugging him about giving her a grandson. The group gathers again to share the meat of the hunt, but then they hear strange noises coming from the bush. It was another group of natives passing by. They try to understand who those men are, and then Stone Sky introduces himself as the leader, saying that he and his son have been hunting in that forest for a long time. The chief fisherman of the other group delivers a fish as a form of goodwill and explains that their village was destroyed, so they are looking for another place to live. Jaguar Claw is curious and wants to know more, but his father immediately cuts the conversation. Before returning to the village, Stone Sky warns them not to tell anyone what happened there. And seeing his half-goat son, he says that fear can be contagious. Take it out of your heart, he advises, promising that by dawn they would go up the hill to ask for the blessing of the ancestors. Back in the village, Twit barely arrives before being stopped by his mother-in-law, who humiliates him in front of everyone for not giving her a grandson. But his wife defends him, tells her mother to shut up, and takes her husband inside the hut, making it clear that night would be different. Meanwhile, Jaguar Claw watches with affection while his son plays. Then he goes to his cabin, where he meets his wife, called Seven, who reveals that she is pregnant. On the other hand, it seems that the little magic leaf worked. Because the leaf he used had spicy properties, it was burning down there. The whole village starts laughing, and even he, in the end, joins the fun too. At night, an elder of the tribe tells a story. He talks about a man who asked for all the animals in the forest. When there was no one left to ask, he simply followed his path. The animals were afraid because the man knew too much, until the owl realized that he had 2 holes where his eyes should be. That was going to turn him into a sad, empty person, and he would never stop wanting more, until he left the world with nothing. After the story, a dance begins in the village. But Jaguar Claw is thoughtful, disturbed by what he heard, until Seven brings him back to the present. At dawn, he has a strange dream. He sees the mysterious fisherman holding his heart and asking him to run away. When he wakes up, the dogs in the village are barking like crazy. It was a sign that something was coming. Suddenly, a group of violent warriors invades the village. Jaguar Claw reacts quickly, wakes up his family, takes a rope and hides his wife and son in a deep cistern. When one of the warriors attacks him, he releases the rope to protect them both. With determination, he manages to deflect a series of blows and kill the enemy right there. Then he promises his wife that he will return, but needs to help his people. But the village was already being taken in a brutal massacre. Many were dead or captured. Jaguar Claw tries to fight, but when he is about to kill a warrior called Middle Eye, the leader of the invaders, Wolf Zero, appears and orders him to be tied up. Middle Eye immediately tries to take revenge on him, but Wolf Zero doesn't let him, not yet. Furious, Middle Eye discovers who Jaguar Claw's father is and kills him right there. Before dying, the father gives his son one last piece of advice: do not be afraid. Then Middle Eye faces Jaguar Claw and says he almost managed to kill him, before knocking him out with a blow. When he wakes up, Jaguar Claw is tied to a pole along with other villagers. Top is still alive and calls the others cowards as he watches his own wife being taken to a cabin by warriors who intend to violate her before killing her. One of the warriors notices that Jaguar Claw keeps looking at a specific point in the forest where he hid his family. He goes there, finds the cistern, throws a stone, and injures the baby's foot. Since no one responds, he cuts the rope and leaves. The invaders march away with the prisoners, leaving the children alone with the bodies of the dead. On the way, Jaguar Claw sees another group of prisoners, including the fishermen he had seen before. The two lock eyes, but the fisherman only watches in silence. Meanwhile, some orphan children decide to follow the warriors to a turbulent river. As the current is too strong, they can't cross and are forced to watch their relatives taken away. Back at the cistern, Seven treats her son's foot using ants, a traditional cure. In the prisoners' caravan, one of them is badly wounded and falls. This bothers the others, including Jaguar Claw, who is also hanging in the air. Middle Eye, impassive, doesn't help. Instead, he cuts the wounded man's rope and throws him into the abyss. Wolf Zero sees this and is uncomfortable. Despite that, he doesn't interfere but warns Middle Eye, I want to see if you're really the leader and don't let anyone escape. At night, Wolf Zero gives his son a dagger, a reward for killing many men. Meanwhile, Clumsy swears that he will kill as many enemies as he can, even if it costs him his life. The next day, the group of prisoners is taken to a devastated area, an almost apocalyptic landscape. Dry, twisted trees, silence in the air, a place cursed by some sinister plague. A little girl tries to approach, but they hold her back. She was no ordinary girl. She faces Jaguar Claw with a mysterious look and delivers a prophecy that chills everyone's bones. The day will become night, death will come to all, and a man among them will be reborn only to end their agony. The group arrives at a huge quarry, full of enslaved and sick people. They pass through a village and finally reach the capital. There, the women are separated from the men and put on sale as slaves. One of the last to pass is none other than Taupe's mother-in-law, and no one wants to buy her. She's simply rejected and left behind. Meanwhile, the men are painted blue with ritualistic ink and taken to the middle of the square. The mother-in-law, even though discarded, follows the group from afar and watches with sad eyes. The prisoners are dragged through a tunnel full of human sacrifices, a true living nightmare. When they emerge, they see heads rolling down from a pyramid. Human heads fall into baskets at the bottom of the stairs. The priest appears before the crowd and delivers a fanatic speech. He says the city is being punished by plagues, that the harvest is dying, and the people are getting sick. But everything will improve if the gods are fed with sacrifices. Then the horror begins. They rip out the heart of one prisoner, cut off his head, and throw everything down the stairs. Then they do the same with another. At that moment, Jaguar Claw thinks of his wife. Meanwhile, Seven, his pregnant wife, also senses something strange, like a sixth sense. Soon it's Jaguar Claw's turn. He lies on the altar but remains calm. He looks at the crowd and says, "We only die once." But before the priest can stab him, an eclipse occurs. The day turns into night. The people panic. The priest, ever the manipulator, declares that the god Kukulkan is satisfied and pretends to restore the light. When the sun reappears, he declares the prisoners are no longer necessary and orders them to be killed. The prisoners are taken to a kind of ritual playground, a kind of death square. Wolf Zero, the chief of the warriors, puts his own son on the other side of the field with a giant nail and gives false hope to the prisoners. If they cross alive, they are free. Top and another man try to cross, but it is sealed. They are hunted like animals, sheared by spears, arrows and axes. Tired, wounded, they are beaten mercilessly. When it's time for Jaguar Claw to run, he and another guy use the strategy of running in zig and jag to avoid being hit. This works for a moment, but when they were close to the end, they are hit by arrows. When Wolf Zero's son is about to finish, Top, who was still alive, grabs him and asks Jaguar Claw to run away. The warrior kills Top, but when he comes back to get Jaguar Claw, he grabs the prophet and sticks the tip of the same arrow in his chest. Wolf Zero sees his own wounded son and, without thinking twice, goes up the claw. Our hero, even with a spear stuck, runs inside the mill and disappears in the forest. Wolf Zero stands there watching his son die, grabs the dagger he had given him and swears revenge. As he runs away, Jaguar Claw trips on a barrel full of corpses, victims of the sacrifices. Even so, he crosses all that and crawls in the forest. He climbs a tree to hide. The warriors pass by there without noticing, and a drop of claw blood falls on the shoulder of one of the warriors. Luckily, he didn't notice and goes straight. But then a jaguar cub appears. He roars. And yes, the animal's mother also appears, huge and furious. Meanwhile, one of the warriors notices a drop of blood on the back of another and suspects that Jaguar Claw is in the trees. But in reality, he is running away from the jaguar. A warrior can see the movement and runs after him, but ends up being brutally attacked by the jaguar itself. The others arrive too late, kill the animal, but do not save the comrade. One of them comments, "This is a bad omen." Another agrees, remembering the little girl's prophecy. Werewolf tells everyone to shut up. None of this exists. When I get Jaguar Claw, I'm going to rip his skin off. The next day, the hunt continues. One of the warriors finds a trail on the trunk of a tree, but a snake appears and bites his neck. The guy, already disillusioned, begs to die soon. One of the colleagues gives him a dagger as a final gesture. Jaguar Claw, even wounded, continues to escape. He reaches the top of a waterfall. Without a way out, he looks down and jumps. He survives, gets up on a stone and shouts to Werewolf, "I am Jaguar Claw. This is my home. This forest is mine. Come get me if you have the courage." Werewolf wants to jump after him, but one of the warriors suggests going around the waterfall. Out of boldness, he is killed on the spot. The others are forced to jump, and one of them dies in the fall. Even so, they keep jumping, which ends up working for most. Seeing this, Jaguar Claw runs like never before, but falls into a gap and almost drowns. Still, he escapes. Tired of running away, he decides, "Enough, I will not run anymore. Get ready." He grabs a hive and throws it at the pursuers. The swarm of bees falls on them with pleasure. Then he finds a poisonous swarm, rubs the poison on a tip of a thorn, and sets up more traps. Meanwhile, Sate, the pregnant wife, tries to climb up the cistern rope where she was hidden, but it breaks and she falls. With pain and signs that the baby is about to be born. Back to the forest, Jaguar Claw waits for him to move away from one of the others to poison one of them, who falls dead. Then he faces the middle eye. Jaguar Claw is at a disadvantage as he is disarmed. Even so, he is not afraid. With fury, he leaves for the enemy, and after meticulously dodging his axe blow, he counterattacks and finishes him with the axe that was on the floor. Meanwhile, where Seth is, it starts to flood quickly and the water rises, and even almost drowning, the labor begins. Jaguar Claw gets to her, already with the water above the waist. But before he can help, Zero Wolf reaches him and stabs him in the chest. Then he runs to Seth and tries to finish him with the axe, but he falls into a hunter's trap, stuck, no chance of escaping. But it's not over yet. Jaguar Claw keeps running away from two more remaining warriors. He runs to the beach, where he loses his strength and falls on his knees. But luckily, the two warriors do not attack him, as they are hypnotized when they notice something on the horizon. Boats, ships, Spaniards, conquerors, missionaries, the old world coming in the new. They stay there, static, and Jaguar Claw takes advantage of the distraction to escape from there. Meanwhile, Seth gives birth inside the cistern, in the middle of the rain, and survives. Jaguar Claw meets the baby in his arms. The two go up to a hill. Up there, they watch the ships. Seth asks if they should go to them. Jaguar Claw just says, "No, let's go back to the forest. Start over." So ends the movie. Please comment on what you think, and until the next video.